I was sprawled on our worn leather sofa, half watching some forgettable cooking competition. It was getting late, and I was ready to crash. I turned to my girlfriend Emma and kissed her forehead. "Night, babe. Love you," I murmured, same as I had for the past 18 months. She didn't echo it back. Instead, her expression shifted, suddenly serious, almost clinical. She grabbed the remote, killed the sound, and pivoted to face me directly. My chest tightened. This wasn't going to be about our weekend plans. "Alex," she said, her voice measured, "I care about you. I really do. But I'm not in love with you anymore." The words landed like ice water. Not a breakup exactly, more like a status update. A unilateral contract modification she expected me to just accept and move forward with. I'm a data engineer. I spend 40-plus hours a week optimizing databases, debugging inefficient code, solving logical problems. My mind doesn't handle ambiguous emotional statements well. So I processed what she'd given me. She cares about me. She is not in love with me. Data received and logged. "All right," I said after a pause. "I appreciate you telling me." That was it. No pleading. No demands for explanation. No emotional outburst. I just nodded, stood up, and headed to our bedroom. I could sense her eyes burning into my back as I walked away. She'd anticipated drama, tears, maybe anger, definitely negotiation. She thought I'd beg to know what I could fix, how I could earn back a promotion I hadn't realized I'd lost. Instead, she got calm acknowledgement and silence. Lying in bed, staring at the shadows on the ceiling, I heard my phone buzz on the nightstand. A notification from the group chat with her friends, one I still had access to through our shared iPad in the den. I didn't need to look to know what was happening. She was debriefing with her counsel, getting real-time validation. A few minutes later, she slipped into the bedroom, assuming I was asleep. The mattress dipped as she settled in, and the dim glow of her screen lit up her profile. Tap, tap, tap went her thumbs across the glass. I could imagine the responses. Her friends telling her how courageous she was, how evolved, how mature to speak her truth rather than just ending things. They were applauding this innovative relationship model. All the perks of my stability, my income, my home, without any pesky obligation to actually love me back. She thought she'd successfully renegotiated our arrangement in her favor. She had no idea she'd just triggered a termination sequence. She'd downgraded me from partner to housemate. Fine. I was about to become the most efficient, emotionally detached housemate she'd ever encountered. The rules were set. I was just going to play by them with perfect precision. Update 1. The Housemate Protocol. 3 weeks since Emma's honest conversation. 3 weeks of what she probably assumes is me quietly accepting this new normal. In reality, it's been the rollout of what I'm calling the Housemate Protocol. Some of you commented that I should just ask her to leave. That's too messy, too confrontational. I prefer systematic, gradual dismantling. It's more effective. The protocol launched the next morning. I woke at my usual time. Normally, I'd lean over, kiss her, whisper good morning. Not anymore. I got up, went to the kitchen, brewed coffee, poured myself a travel mug, left the empty carafe on the burner. The man who made her coffee every morning was in love with her. That man no longer existed. The housemate who shares kitchen space doesn't make her coffee. I got ready for work, grabbed my things, and called out a casual, "Have a good one," as I left. No kiss. No love you. Just the polite courtesy you'd extend to someone you share an office with. The first few days, she seemed relieved. Almost cheerful. She'd gotten her space. The pressure was gone. She'd successfully friend-zoned her live-in boyfriend without sacrificing the apartment or lifestyle. She was winning. Then the small adjustments started accumulating. Thursday afternoon, she texted, "Hey, the girls want to try that new sushi place downtown tonight. Can you get us a reservation for 7?" This was standard operating procedure before. I was the logistics guy, reservations, tickets, travel bookings. I replied, "Can't help tonight, swamped with a project deadline. They take walk-ins though, or you can call direct." Her response. I didn't reply. I was actually at a boxing class, something I'd started with all my newfound evening time. That weekend, the protocol went into full deployment. I did my laundry. Only mine. I went to the grocery store. Bought food for myself, salmon, vegetables, ingredients for my meal prep. I didn't grab her favorite trail mix, her oat milk, or that expensive sparkling water she liked. I came home, organized everything on my designated shelves, and started cooking my meals for the week. She wandered into the kitchen looking puzzled. "You went shopping?" "Yep," I said, focused on portioning chicken breast. "You didn't get any of my stuff." Not a question, an accusation. "Oh, sorry about that," I said with the detached politeness of a stranger who accidentally took your parking spot. "Just grabbed what was on my list. I can forward you my receipt so you know what your portion of the shared items like dish soap comes to." Her face cycled through shock and indignation. In 2 years, I'd never once asked her to split groceries. But the man who covered all the shopping was in love with her. The housemate just pays his share. The real fracture showed on Sunday. Her Civic had been making a grinding noise for over a week. She'd mentioned it several times, clearly waiting for me to handle it. Sunday afternoon, she appeared in the doorway of my home office. "My car's still making that noise," she announced, leaning against the frame. "I think you should check it out before I have to deal with some sketchy mechanic." I swiveled my chair to face her. "That sounds frustrating," I said, my tone full of practiced, neutral sympathy. "Definitely smart to get multiple estimates before committing to repairs. There's a good mechanic finder tool on Consumer Reports." I turned back to my monitor. She stood there, silent, for what felt like a full minute. I could feel her staring, trying to process what was happening. The man who would have spent his Sunday afternoon diagnosing her car problems, who had a trusted mechanic's number saved. That man was in love with her. The housemate was busy. She finally huffed and left. "Here's the thing. I'm not being cruel. I'm being literal. She said she cares about me. So I'm treating her like someone I care about. A friend, a housemate. I'd give a friend advice about finding a mechanic. I wouldn't spend my Sunday fixing their car for free." All those relationship currencies, acts of service, thoughtful gestures, unspoken support, are no longer in circulation. She devalued our emotional economy to zero. I'm simply adjusting the household budget to reflect that reality. She's starting to realize her brave, honest declaration didn't just free her from the obligation of loving me. It freed me from the obligations of loving her. And she's beginning to see exactly how many of those obligations she'd taken completely for granted. The silence in our apartment is getting heavier. She keeps trying to spark conversations, fishing for some emotional reaction. She gets nothing but pleasant, cordial indifference. She thought she was just removing love from the equation. She's starting to suspect she might have accidentally cleared everything else too. Update 2. System failure. 6 weeks since Emma put our relationship on new terms. 6 weeks of the housemate protocol, and the system is showing catastrophic failure on her end. What she thought was a power move has become a slow-motion self-inflicted collapse. The politeness she initially found liberating has transformed into psychological torture. It's an impenetrable barrier. No cracks, no vulnerabilities she can exploit. I am consistently, cheerfully, devastatingly neutral. Her birthday arrived 3 weeks ago, the first major stress test of the new system. Previously, I would have planned for weeks. Surprise dinner, weekend getaway. Thoughtful, expensive gift. This year, when I woke up on her birthday morning, I rolled over, saw she was awake, and said, "Happy birthday, Emma. Hope it's a great day." Then I got up and started my routine. She lay there watching me, completely stunned. I could see her mind working, waiting for the reveal. The surprise breakfast, the flower delivery, the hint about dinner plans. Nothing materialized. She finally came into the kitchen while I was blending a protein shake. "So," she said, trying to sound casual, "any plans for today?" Me? I turned to face her. "Just work, then the gym." "Did you have something going on?" "I just thought we'd do something," she stammered. "Oh," I said, with a look of polite realization. "I figured you'd celebrate with your friends, people you're really close to. I'm happy to order takeout and stream something tonight if you want, like we do sometimes as friends. But I didn't want to assume you didn't have important plans." The emphasis on friends was a precision strike. I was using her own framework against her. Grand romantic birthday celebrations are for people in love. People who just care about each other get a casual offer of Thai food. She spent her birthday evening on the couch, scrolling her phone while I worked on my laptop beside her. The silence was crushing. Her friends, the ones who'd called her so brave, had all dropped HBD Queen Crown comments on Instagram, but none had actually made plans with her. The financial dimension of the protocol has started hitting hard too. Turns out the boyfriend experience included substantial passive financial support she was completely oblivious to. I used to just cover our dates, trips, her car insurance, streaming subscriptions. It was all part of our shared life. That shared life was over. Her phone service got suspended last week. She came to me panicking. I looked up from my book. Oh, right. I removed my card from the family plan since we're not really family anymore. You'll need to call them and set up your own account. Her face went ashen. She had no regular job. She did occasional freelance design work, but it was sporadic and barely covered her shopping habits. She'd been living a lifestyle subsidized by someone who was in love with her. Now she was just a housemate behind on her share of utilities. She started trying to provoke me, attempting to resurrect the old me, even if it's the angry version. She'll leave her stuff scattered around. I don't clean it. I just stack it neatly on her side of the bedroom. She'll play melancholic playlists loudly in the living room. I put on noise-canceling headphones. Last night was the biggest escalation yet. She came home from drinks with friends, clearly tipsy. I was reading in bed. She walked in wearing one of my old hoodies and sleep shorts, the look she used to deploy when she wanted intimacy. She sat on the edge of the bed and started crying. I miss you, she said, voice thick with tears. I miss what we had. I set my book down and looked at her with mild concern, the expression you'd give a neighbor whose cat went missing. It sounds like you're going through a really difficult adjustment period, Emma, I said. These kinds of transitions can be really challenging. Have you thought about talking to a therapist? Sometimes having an objective third party can really help process these feelings. I delivered it with perfect clinical detachment. I'd taken her genuine, if manipulative, emotional plea and responded with a mental health referral. It was the emotional equivalent of telling someone with a broken arm to see a doctor. Correct, helpful, and utterly devoid of the personal connection she was desperate for. The tears stopped. She just stared at me, eyes wide with dawning horror. She was finally understanding. She wasn't dealing with a heartbroken man lashing out in anger. She was dealing with a system operating exactly as programmed. She'd set the parameters. She'd defined the relationship. This cold, sterile, perfectly logical emptiness was the output. She thought she was being brave and honest. She's realizing now she was just foolish. The panic is setting in hard, and the final system shutdown is approaching. Final update. Termination complete. It's done. The housemate protocol reached its logical conclusion last night, not with drama, but with quiet, crushing finality. The past few weeks have been Emma's descent into desperation. The apartment, once her sanctuary, became her cage, a clean, quiet, well-maintained cage where her housemate was unfailingly polite, and the silence was a constant reminder of everything she'd discarded. She tried everything to crack me. Tears, anger, seduction, guilt. Nothing penetrated. I was a gray rock, pleasant, immovable, indifferent. The breaking point came over money and logistics, as I knew it would. Our lease expires end of next month. A few days ago, the renewal notice arrived from our landlord. I left it on the kitchen counter. Last night I came home from the gym to find her sitting at the table, staring at the lease document. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "We need to discuss this," she said quietly. "Sure," I said, setting down my gym bag. "What's up? Are we renewing?" "I'm not," I said simply. The color drained from her face. "What? What do you mean? Where are we supposed to live?" "I'm not sure where you'll be living, Emma," I said, keeping my tone even. "But I've already signed a lease on a new place, a studio closer to downtown. I move in on the 1st. She stared at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. I could see her world fracturing in real time. This wasn't just emotional distance anymore. This was an eviction notice. I had planned a future without her. You're leaving me?" she stammered. "Leaving you?" I asked, genuinely confused. "No, our living arrangement is ending. We're housemates, right? Our lease is up. Housemates don't typically renew together when one is relocating. I found something that works better for me. I assumed you'd do the same." That's when she finally shattered. The tears, the rage, the carefully constructed victimhood, it all erupted. "This isn't fair," she screamed, her chair scraping as she shot up. "You're being vindictive. You're punishing me. I told you I made a mistake. I told you I loved you. Actually, you didn't," I corrected her calmly. "You told me you missed me. You never said you loved me. But that's irrelevant. You told me, very clearly, that you weren't in love with me. I believed you. I accepted it. And I adjusted my life accordingly. I'm not punishing you, Emma. I'm respecting what you told me. But I want things back the way they were," she sobbed. "I'm sure you do," I said, and for the first time, Real steel entered my voice. You want the man who was in love with you. The man who cooked for you, planned things for you, paid for your life, took care of you. You want all of that back. But you want it without the one thing he needed in return, for you to be in love with him too. You wanted an impossibility, Emma. A devoted partner who required nothing from you. That's not a relationship. That's a service contract. And my contract has expired. I let that settle in the air. She stared at me, finally comprehending. This wasn't a game. This was permanent system shutdown. Then, for the finale, I walked to the counter and picked up a small package that had been delivered that afternoon. Her eyes lit up with wild, irrational hope. Even after everything, she still had the audacity to think this might be it. The grand gesture proving I'd been in love all along. She watched, breathless, as I opened it. It wasn't jewelry. It was a keychain. A single new key on a simple titanium ring. This is the key to my new place, I said, holding it up. Really excited about it. Great natural light. The hope in her eyes died instantly, replaced by absolute devastation. She'd gambled everything on the assumption that my love was an infinite resource she could access at will. She'd just discovered it had one simple condition: reciprocity. She said nothing, just sank back into her chair and stared at the lease renewal, now solely her problem. I left her there and went to my office to work. The silence filling the apartment wasn't loud anymore. It was just empty. I have 4 weeks left as her housemate. Then I'm free. She got exactly what she asked for. A life with someone who isn't in love with her.